Welcome, bent riders around the world. My name is Gary Solomon, and you're watching the Laidback Bike Report. It is so great to have you all with us today. We have a really interesting show lined up for you. We've been working all week. With us in today's webcast is John and Maggie Williams from London, the Velo-ads people, and also Neil Hood, who has recently been added into the mix there. So we look forward to talking to those three. And from Austin, Texas, Ron Blackman will be with us from Street Recumbents, and he's going to do an Ask Me Anything session. So if you have some questions for Ron, anything to do with recumbent bikes or trikes or what goes on at Street Recumbents, he is your man. We'll have him on a little bit later on in the show. And we look forward to talking to him. So, how about the crew? We have a little bit of a reduced crew today. What? Where's Trey? There's Trey. All right, there we go. So, first of all, from Colorado Springs, Colorado, it's Larry Seidman. Hey, Larry.
Welcome.
It is good to have you with us. Larry is handling the directorial duties today. And down in Jackson, Mississippi, is Trey Burgoyne, our media dude. What's up, Trey? Trey, what is not up is his audio. And if we go to Big Dallas, whoops, there we go. Okay, you're back on. We have Doug Davis with us, and Doug, I think your audio is on. What's going on, Doug?
Yeah, my audio is working right now, which is better than you can say for a lot of things around here.
Okay, yeah. Well, no, I know you're working too. We'll talk to you a little later about that. He's a busy guy. So, all right, guys. Let me just, if I could, for a minute, talk to you a lot about how you can help to participate in this webcast. You can do so by jumping on the live chat. If you are on Facebook, just make a comment right there in the posting. And if you're on YouTube, live chat is available to you right over there if you're on the web, and below you, I believe, is where it is if you're on mobile. So join the live chat. Tell us where you're watching from. Ask your questions. Chat amongst yourselves or our panelists. We would love to have you join in on this webcast. All right. How can you support the Laidback Bike Report? Well, you can like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have over 7,000 subscribers now. We really appreciate the support on YouTube there. And if you want to find out a little bit more about the Laidback Bike Report, look right up over here. You'll see a little white eye, and it will take you to the Laidback Bike Report website, where you can find all of our past shows. We do a audio podcast for many of our shows now to make it more convenient for those of you who are out and about and can't actually watch but may want to listen. So we hope you'll take advantage of listening to that as well. Past shows, bonus material, what's coming up, all that's on the website, so you can find it there. And lastly, you can support us by becoming a Patreon patron. If you go to the patreon.com page, look up Laidback Bike Report, you can find out how you can support us monthly for as little as $1 a month. So that's a wonderful way to help us out if you can do so. We'll talk more about that at the end of the show. All right, who else supports the Laidback Bike Report? It is our amazing sponsors. Let me tell you about them right now. First of all, it is TerraCycle, makers of exquisite recumbent parts and accessories for your bent. And Trailside.bike, a fine recumbent bike shop on the Withlacoochee Trail in Florida. And cruise bike, designed for the cyclist who wants to ride farther, climb faster, and adventure more. All cruise bikes and frame sets ship free in the USA. And TerraTrike. Every participant in TerraTrike's virtual Rider Fest will receive an entry into a raffle for a new TerraTrike of their choice, including the much-anticipated TerraTrike Spider and GTS. The drawing will take place live June 28th, right here on the Laidback Bike Report. So ride what you like, but get out and ride. Look for those details on the TerraTrike website at terratrike.com/riderfest or on the TerraTrike Facebook page. And the Hostel Shop, America's premier recumbent dealer with the largest variety of recumbents, parts, and accessories in stock and ready to ship to your door. All right, guys, please support those sponsors if you would. All right, let's get started. Jump right into it. And let me introduce to you my first set of guests. These guys reside in London. They are responsible for an organization known as Velo-ads, and we're going to learn a lot more about Velo-ads and these folks right now. So if you can, Larry, bring up John Williams, Maggie Williams, and Neil Hood. Neil, there's Neil.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Gary.
How you doing? Hi, Gary.
It is great to have you all on. John, of course, has been on a few times before. Always a pleasure to have John on. He adds a lot to the show. John, I think if we can, let's just go ahead and start with you and talk about, I guess, the early stages here. We've had you on before talking about your life, but let's talk about your first Velomobile purchase. Let's start there.
Okay, so my first Velomobile purchase was a WOW Velomobile, which I bought from a company called Fietser.be in Belgium, run by a guy called Brecht. And I bought it second-hand from them. I think it was an ex-demonstrator. And it was a game changer. It was one of my best purchases, I think, at the time. That was about 10 years ago, I think. And really I was riding Recumbents before that, just two-wheeled. I started off with the Challenge and then went on to Mike Burrows' Recumbents. And once I got the WOW, it was, totally different. Weather protection, faster, just phenomenal, really.
So that's actually what got you started in Velomobiles.
Yeah.
That was the rest is history, of course. So, and then moved on to the Quest, right? Is that the next?
Yeah. Then good old Questy came on the scene. I wanted to get another Velomobile as well. So, and we'd already, myself and my partner had talked about maybe trying to get some advertising on our Velomobiles. So I went over to Dronten. They had a second-hand Quest for sale. Bought that off the guys. So I got the train to Dronten, and then I rode it back. And I remember Teo saying to me the other day that he said the look on my face when I picked it up, it was just like, it was an old Quest and it wasn't new or anything, and one of the fiberglass jobbies, so it was quite heavy. But he said, he never forgot that big smile I had when I rode out and headed off back towards London. And then we started getting advertising. I think we had one or two on that.
The Tootsie was first.
Yeah. So, the Quest I had for years, I resprayed it, crashed it, raced it, did all sorts in it. It was brilliant. An all-rounder, really. Oh, and that was when I rode first of all, that was Cycle Vision, I think that was, yes. So that was me racing at Cycle Vision. The nice thing about racing in the Netherlands is wearing a crash helmet is optional. And I decided, wow, great, no thanks, I won't bother. And that was Cycle Vision. And I was on a tour for a month and a half around Europe. And I decided to stop there, race, and then carry on. Try not to wear out my tyres in a 3-hour race or whatever it was. Yeah, brilliant fun.
Okay. So, John, you go ahead and take over and let Trey know when you want to switch. And I'm going to let you kind of handle this for a bit.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the WoW after one of its many resprays. And this was one of the first customers we had. He owned a restaurant, and he wanted his restaurant's name on the WoW. I think it was just on the front, if I remember rightly, on the top there. And yeah, really nice guy from Iran. And it worked really well. And that was the first one, and it was like really exciting, because you actually think, wow, this actually works. People are interested in advertising on these things because they catch a lot of attention. And whenever you stop at the lights, you've got 10 mobile phones out and a couple of cameras taking photos. So I suppose if you've got your company name on there, that's usually posted straight away onto social media, so it gets around. Next slide, please, Trey.
That's me. We started with stickers, but we
studied fashion. So.
We have figured that stickers can be a little bit tricky for us. It was quite difficult to market stickers. Well, because we didn't really know how to work with stickers that well, in a way that I think probably we didn't think that it was such a great idea for us, such a small company, to do stickers. And we thought it would be better if we focus on events and sort of change the whole look of the whole bike instead of just selling one little area of the bike, because that would get more attention. So then, therefore, stickers weren't such a great idea at the end, because the paint would get damaged. So after every job, you would have to sort of peel the sticker, repair the paint. I mean, it looks like a big job. So one of John's friends said that maybe we should make a textile wrap. And I thought, wow, that's brilliant, such a great idea. So because I have a fashion background, I sort of designed, let's say, a glove, customized glove for the bike that's sort of secured on the bottom with the Velcro. So when you print an image on that textile, and when it's really well fitted, it kind of looks almost like a wrap. So it was we were like really proud of ourselves. And it was a great idea, and we got a few jobs from that. It worked really well. But I think what happened was, at that time we started to make more videos and making wraps. Please, could we please get a next? Yeah. Oh, here we go. So that's one of the jobs we did. It was a fun job, great experience. We could have follow that path, but because I think we started to make more videos, and we found that we were better at it. We really enjoyed it, and making the wrap was quite time consuming and really labor intensive. I suppose we would get better at it, and it would take less time.
Sewing for you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So if I could,
maybe we should focus on the YouTube. Sorry.
Yeah, no, not at all. I want to talk a little bit about that here. Yeah. It's important because that is where your focus is now, and that is still where most people know you and John from. And let's be real clear about what this is about. So the vast majority of you already know the Velo-ads YouTube channel. This is what John Williams does. He makes great videos mostly about velomobiles, but other sorts of recumbent bikes and unusual bikes as well. But the amazing nature of those videos has a lot to do with who edits them. And Maggie, we're going to talk about details a little bit later, but you have been editing those pretty much from the beginning. Tell us how you got into editing John's videos and your ideas about that.
I think we started YouTube because when we decided that we want to have a company together, I thought that it would be a great idea if our marketing channel would be YouTube. So we actually started YouTube because we wanted to get customers at the beginning, but it was all about John's passion, obviously. So we sort of I started from scratch. Like we didn't know how to do it. We started with the GoPro,
a rabbit in front of the headlights.
Yeah, very basic software, and then slowly we progressed. We have a better camera. I'm editing on a professional software.
And considering you never knew anything about it, it's all self-taught as well. So.
It's like you know, I want to get better, make entertaining videos. Entertaining because
I think the videos bring a lot to the community as well, and I just enjoy riding velomobiles and filming what I'm doing. And then, you know, even when we were doing the raps, Magda used to be like, well, maybe you should do a video about raps instead of just going for rides with your mates.
Right. So I mean, it started out. The videos were to be supporting your business with, and then it turned out to be what the business was.
When we didn't know what the business, exactly.
So Jan Versma says, aren't there less sticker vinyls made especially for ADs? So you were talking about how the stickers before you did the wraps, you were thinking about putting stickers on, but you were worried about the damage to the paint and stuff.
Well, it's a sort of toss up between, you know, whether you want the adhesive to be super strong when you're riding in all sorts of weather and road grime and whatnot flying up, or you can go for, you know, stickers which aren't that sticky, and then more than likely they're going to peel off after a few days, and then you're going to have to order more or whatever. So it's a toss up between the two, really.
Okay,
and you've got to find that happy medium.
And I think, I think you did find. I think the happy medium. I think the medium is YouTube, actually, that it ended up being.
Yeah.
So let's move on from there. How about the next slide, Trey? That was really the last of the Velo-ad slide here, and this is from 2018 at the World Championships there in Kent. Yes.
Yes, I think was that the first time I met you, Gary?
It is the first time that we.
Yeah, that was like one of the best events I think I've ever been to.
And we had a chance to meet up afterwards in London, but you know, we barely had a chance to talk there because we were both so busy. Covering the race. There was so much going on, but it was a fantastic event and something I'll never forget. So, and you were staked out in all kinds of crazy spots too. You know, we're trying to get just the right shot, and we both made interesting videos, I think, from that event. But that kind of really got you going, didn't it, in terms of some coverage?
Yeah. And that was my first. I think that was the first World Championships I'd ever attended. And I was blown away by it, and I just thought after that, I'm never going to miss one. Unfortunately, I missed this one because we've all, you know, had this pandemic thing on, so we've all our plans have been scuppered this year, and hopefully we'll be back to normal next year and back on it.
We were looking forward to seeing each other again in Amsterdam, which of course didn't work out this year, but maybe next.
But yeah, I would definitely say, you know, to all the people who are watching your show, and if they're into human-powered vehicles, recumbents, whatever, definitely try and get yourself to the World Championships. They're a great bunch of people, really friendly, and you just have so much fun.
And you mentioned Cyclovision, actually, John, that you had that first Velomobile, and Cyclovision is a separate event. Can you speak to that for a minute? Tell the folks what Cyclovision is.
Oh, so Cyclovision is run usually in the Netherlands. And it's basically it's just all about racing. So you've got rowing bikes, velomobiles, recumbents, and usually over 100 people there. It's like a mini World Championships. And so the one I went to, which was in the middle of Amsterdam, there was a really old velodrome there. So some of the races were held on this steep velodrome, and the others were on a brilliant sort of road circuit. And they had a 3-hour race, 6-hour race, quite a few sprints as well, and loads of camping in the middle. It's like the equivalent of camping in the middle of Hyde Park here. And then in the evening, you've got, you know, Amsterdam to explore by velomobile. So it's phenomenal.
And it was going to be held in conjunction with the World Championships this year.
This year, yeah.
It would have been my first chance to see that too. So interesting event. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get back to the slides and continue with this. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, this is when I organized a loopy trip over to the Netherlands and enrolled my mate Stuart Dennison from Bike Fix. I slung him in the Quest and we rode over. I think I rode my WOW over, and we wanted to try out loads of Velomobiles. So this was the first time I'd actually ridden a DF. Absolutely loved it. And I can, Stuart is the, you know, the I call him the hashtag Velomobile hater. He's got an aversion to Velomobiles, but you know, after he tried, well, there was 3 of us I think who went over that time. There was myself, Ian Perry, and Stuart, and we all rode together. And yeah, it was hilarious. I made a video about the whole trip, and the thing was, like, we were all at different. If ever you're going to organise a bike ride abroad, hundreds of kilometres, you need to make sure that the people you take along with you are roughly the same fitness levels and ride at roughly the same speed. Because Stuart was like a tortoise creeping along in this Quest Velomobile, and I was, Ian Perry, as we all know, is the absolute rocket. He rode to the World Championships. It took me and Ian Squires 3 days to get there. Ian Perry did it in like 30 hours or something in that 38, 39 degree heat. And so, you know, Stuart was pootling along at 15 kilometers an hour in the Quest, and we'd be like, can you go a little bit faster? No, that's the maximum this thing can go. There's so, of course, they
then it's not so much fun for him, and it's not so much fun for everyone else.
So I was the referee in the middle of them quite a lot. And yeah, but that was the first time I tried the DF, and Stuart, who doesn't like Velomobiles at all, tried the DF and was absolutely blown away by it. And he was like, John, where can I get 8,000 euros? Because his speed went up quite a lot, you know, when he was test riding it, and he was like, wow, this is amazing, I'm fast now. And so that was super cool. And then we went over to, after Intercity Bikes, we went over to Velomobile NL, and that was my first ride ever in the Quattro. And I was just amazed by the handling and the speeds you could corner at, and the comfort, actually, with the air suspension at the back. And yeah, I decided there and then, you know, I realized that I could carry my son in the back if I got the child seat option with the windows. And I decided there and then that I definitely wanted to purchase a Quattro. And I think it took a lot of fans of the channel, of my channel, by surprise when I decided to go for the QV, because they all thought that I would have gone for the DF, which was a lot more sporty and a lot faster. But then I just thought, well, you know, the QV can do pretty much everything. And that was the one I went for. Yeah,
right. If you can only have one, and I think Doug has talked about this before. John, if I can interrupt for a minute, here's a question from Peter Houston asking about the Brit Velo from Northern Car Company, Graham Brown. Do you know about this at all?
Yeah, I think I've seen that. Is that the one with the
electric power, John? I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you can actually pedal it, can you?
I don't think so. It looks too small in the nose, I think.
Yeah, it's like an electric.
I think I saw that too. So it may not have pedals. It could just be a Velo.
They're still in. They haven't started production yet. I think they're taking deposits. But one day I think I'll go over and just have a look at it. Maybe speak to the guy and just see what it's about. Really.
Suggestion for a video for you there. There we go. All right, let's get back to this. Yep, let's get back to the slides there. Here we go. Okay.
Yes, so this is the Alpha 7. I think that was the first time I ever tried one. And that was at Spezi in Germersheim. And that was my first visit as well to Spezi, which is a great show. And I never knew so many people were interested in human-powered vehicles. I know you've been there attended quite a few times, Gary, but yeah, it was an eye-opener.
Yeah, you had a huge smile on your face every time I saw you there, just like a kid in the candy store. So
it was absolutely brilliant.
It's a great event. Yeah, I missed it. This year.
And that was the first time I met Jan as well. So from velomobile.ro. Yes, the dry cycle. This machine caused quite a stir. And a lot of debate on YouTube and all the other platforms, because you know some people just didn't like the look of it and whatnot, and it was, I think, for the city, absolutely great. The Di2, the electronic shifting was brilliant. It rode really well, and I was actually, I surprised. I had my doubt. I looked at it and I thought, I don't know, I'll try it. I'll go in with an open mind. Absolutely loved it, brilliant. And he was going into production, or he might have gone into production now. And there were going to be 3 demonstrators at Spezi, which has been cancelled this year. But yeah, the dry cycle, a great city machine, I could see lots of them whizzing around London. Absolutely perfect.
That's e-assisted pedal.
Yeah.
kind of
Shimano
computer.
Steps, I think it had in it, if I remember rightly. It was a while ago now, but yeah, really
Something
good.
to look into. All right.
Yes, this was, I think this is my Quattrevelo review video, which was quite popular. I think it's on 300,000 views now. And little Theo, that's his favourite Velomobile or whatever he calls it. So absolutely loves going in it. And I think his furthest ride so far is about 100 and something kilometres in that thing in a storm. So yeah, interesting.
You need to get some extra pedals that he can assist you with.
Yeah, he's piling on the pounds at the moment, so
So
it's a bit of a struggle up here.
That is not assisting you, right? So,
It's good training, John.
I think we got another shot of Theo later on here too in there. So,
Brilliant.
all right, and then this is more recent. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this is my good friend Denise Williams, who's a lot of the Dutch contingent will know her from recumbent racing. I think she was world champion and British ladies champion over here on riding on one of Mike Burrows' racing recumbents. And she's doing a bit of volunteer work for a company community project called Brickworks in Crouch Hill. And I decided that I'd go over and just document what she was doing, because she was helping out a lot of vulnerable people in the pandemic at the moment who couldn't get out and shop because they had underlying health issues. And so I decided to follow her around on this old clunky Christiana cargo bike that the community project had given her to deliver food parcels. And we had like a brilliant day, and she worked super hard, and it's a really hilly area in North London. And she struggled and heaved with this thing up the hills, and just like, the people she was tapping on their door, delivering the food, was so happy to see her and so appreciative. It was like, really humbling to see her at work.
All right, let's jump into another question here. Any ideas to why the Orca is no longer being made? Is that true, John?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I really don't know why.
Flavo bike, right? Is that?
Yeah. I don't think he was selling many. I did have a chat with him.
I think the production was quite expensive to make it.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much profit in it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on back to the slides.
This was my Milan SL review over at Blackheath. And I always thought that I couldn't fit in a Milan. I was always told I was too tall to fit in the Milan SL. And so I just assumed that, that's why I never really tried one. And then when I went over to Spetsy, I jumped in one and rode it barefoot, and I was absolutely flying along. And then I decided there and then that one day I was going to purchase one. And it's been an eye-opener, that's for sure. I wouldn't change it for the world, really.
Okay.
And now we actually sell, now we're the UK dealer for the Milan SL, as well as a few other models now. So, but it's still one of my favorites.
Wow, look, we've been waiting all this time to get a shot of poor Neil, who's been waiting in the shadows, literally there. So,
that's fine.
All right, so maybe at this point, let's talk about the story of how Neil came into the picture. He came into this picture. How did you come into the picture more figuratively?
Me and John.
Do you want me to?
No, you take it. You take it. John.
Start it out, John, and then we'll go.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it was around 3 years ago at a British Human Power Club race in Hillingdon at Hillingdon Cycle Circuit. I think that was the first time we met. Yeah. And 3 years ago, I was mostly running around in Questy, and Neil would have been on Grotty, the old trike. And we got chatting, and I found out that Neil only lived down the road from me. And shortly after that, he must have been amazed at the speeds I was maintaining around the track in the Quest. He decided I need a velomobile. And,
I was chasing you on my trike.
Yeah, you were most probably overtaking me on your trike. I'm so slow around the track. And decided he wanted to buy a velomobile, so he bought a WOW. I think it was a WOW Kermit.
Yeah, bought the WOW at the World Championship.
And then we started going on velomobile rides together, and then the rest is history. Now we're joined at the hip.
You basically are. Let's, if we can, then go to the slides here for Neil. And Neil, let's talk about your story, and then we'll bring it all back up to date with Velo-ads if we can. So,
sure.
Let's go, I think, to the next one. We're going to get back to the Rastrello here, right? So, so they're the two right here, right? So,
this is Regent's Park,
so,
attacking the 1 lap record.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. I think there we go. This we're going to go way back and talk about your early racing and how you got into all of this. If you can't, go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I did. I came from a running background and then got into triathlon. So this bike's quite interesting because it had a all-slop beam suspension. So the idea behind it was that you could ride the bike and then go into the run and not have any fatigue in your legs. So it's quite an interesting bike. It's I think the American version was called a Zip 2001, and it had the all-slop on it. Then a British guy called Dave Lloyd got hold of the idea and then actually incorporated it in one of these frames.
Okay, and so this was about triathlon, so for you.
Yeah. I mean, I've always sort of thought out of the box. I've never sort of gone with the flow. I've always gone for innovation and what really gives you good results. I like technology, and I like the fact that you can use certain things to give you a better advantage.
Sure. Let's go to that next slide, Trey, if we could. And here we go now. So you're racing.
Yeah. So this was a Hotter carbon fiber monocoque bike. I was running a disc wheel and a deep section front wheel there. I think this was the G412 course in Dorking, and I think I did a 1952 for 10 miles, which is about 31 miles an hour. So a quick bike, a beautiful bike. It weighed 16 pounds. That was 1996, so it's way ahead of its time. Way ahead of its time.
All right, let's go on though and start taking a look at more back.
So basically, after doing the time trialing on the conventional bikes, I sort of decided to race in the BHBC club. And, obviously the need for speed, you sort of get faster and faster bikes. But this bike was called a Wooden Fish on Wheels. But initially it didn't have the blisters on the nose. It only had the standard nose. But it did mean I had to short pedal about 100 mil. So obviously I couldn't get my power stroke out. So I put the blisters on it and did some cut out so I could put my feet down when I first started. It was quick, but it was... So to ride the fish... I had to chop the noses off my shoes. That's how tight it was.
So you sliced the toes off of the shoes so that you could actually fit your feet
in the streamlining. Well, this is quite common. I'm not the only person to do it, but it is something you have to do sometimes. Just because the margins are so tight, millimeter perfect. When I'm in ristretto, there literally is no space anywhere. My knees go into the body. My toes actually rub the windscreen. It's as tight as it possibly be because it's all about speed. Any wasted space just means you're losing speed. So the aerodynamic has to be as small as possible.
Right. So you want to fit, but you don't want any more than just.
No, exactly. Yeah, you just want to be only just fit.
Okay, let's go on to the next one here. Okay.
So this is a beautiful bike. One of the club members hadn't raced for a couple of years. And decided to put it up for sale, and I jumped at the opportunity. It's the Mike Burrows VLR. It's about as quick as you can go unfed, only part fed at the back, but fantastic machine. It really did ride really nice, that bike. It was beautiful. Yeah. And
Mike rode that quite a bit too. Isn't that similar to what he rode at the World Championships, right?
Because that's one of the early bikes. What Mike does as he progresses and makes them, he gets them lighter and lighter, but they become a bit more fragile. So that was sort of one of the early ones. So it actually had, it was actually very reliable. It didn't sort of have any mechanical issues. So it was maybe a bit over-engineered for Mike, but like a Formula One car, he builds stuff to the pinnacle where it only just survives the race, but no further,
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great bike that was.
And there's
I think this is at the Olympic Park where me and John were going to go. Me and John were racing at the Olympic Park. I think it's called Tuesday 10s. So it's a 10-mile time trial. I think I averaged about 28 miles an hour. around a little circuit. So it's a bit twisty, but still it's a bit under geared for me. Mike liked higher RPM than me. I prefer to push a bigger gear and slower cadence around about 85. I think Mike was probably around about 100, 105 RPM. So the gear was too small for me, really.
Look how nicely you fit. I mean, you just fit in that thing like it's built around you. It's...
Exactly. There's no, I mean, if you look at the front, there's no gaps anywhere. So obviously aerodynamics is so crucial. If you're going to be open, you know, obviously you want to be as tight to the frame and have no gaps at all. I mean, it's a fantastic bike. Absolutely flew along on that thing.
Okay, let's go ahead.
So this is Grotti. This is a Green Speed GLR. So I've been training for about 2.5 years. I've got a coach called Ken Buckley. He's got his own coaching school, if you like. He trains people and takes people on and teaches them. But so
Neil, maybe we should stop here and explain to the folks what your racing goals are here. What are you after?
Yeah. Well, basically, I've been always fascinated with the hour record. So basically the distance that you can cover in an hour. And the current record is a guy called Rob English, and he went 50.1 miles, which I think is about 80.628 kilometers in 1 hour. So yeah, you can imagine going 50 miles an hour for 1 hour. So that's basically the record that I'm after.
All right. So that in service of that, we're going to see some slides here about what you have done and what you are doing now to accomplish.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, basically, I just realised that I couldn't do this on my own, so that's why I sort of got in contact with Ken. Ken Buckley is the British champion for. He holds the record for top speed at Battle Mountain in Nevada. He went 75 miles an hour. So he's the perfect coach, really, because he understands recumbent riding. So, and he understands where I'm coming from riding the streamliners. So I got in touch with Ken, and we formed a good partnership. And he's been training me now for about 2.5 years. And
you talked to me the other day about the nature of your training with this coach, a modern bike training versus what you used to do years ago. We saw that you major differences. How do you see those differences?
Yeah, when I was in Norwood Paragon, and I got quite quick, on the bike, but I got quick by doing high mileage. So I was riding 700 miles a week. And the trouble is, when you do high mileage, obviously there's a lot of fatigue. But with the modern training now, what we do is we train really hard, but over a shorter time. So you push the envelope a little bit further than what you can do. But then you have your rest days as well. So it's all calculated, and it's a lot more scientific these days, So they've really learnt that you don't have to do hundreds and hundreds of miles, but what you need to do is real quality training. So that just makes such a difference, So basically, I'm training roughly around about between 9 and 11 hours a week now. I would have done that in 1 day sometimes in the past, but we don't need to do the long distance anymore. We just need to do quality training.
And this gets the results that you're looking
absolutely
for.
Because you're getting your rest days. It gives your muscles a chance to recoup. But because you're pushing the envelope, you're building the muscle as well and the power. So the rest days are just as important as the power days.
Very good. Okay, let's get back to the slides and let's talk about some of the vehicles that you have have had.
Yeah. Well, before I got the WOW at the World Championships, I had a bike called Evo K, and it never handled correctly from day one.
This is the bike that you see on the left.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one with the stickers on. So basically, I had to do a lot of work on it to get it to work, and had a few issues. The red bike is an interesting body. It's just the body there. That's it's a clone copy of a Vector. It's called a Vectorette, so it's slightly smaller than a Vector, but it has huge potential because it's very aerodynamic. The thing with the trikes is obviously they don't go around corners very well. So I've got a frame that can go inside that will eventually make it go around the corners really well. So I just thought for the BHPC racing, I can race the Milan, but I really wanted something that would give me a chance to keep up with the streamliners.
Does it come with a canopy, the Vectorette?
Yeah, I got a canopy that goes on it. So, But the
On to the next slide here. We're going to follow up with both of these stories here. Yep. So go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, after this was getting the Evo K ready for the World Championships. So I took all the stickers off it. I did the work that I could do on it. And then that's the Vector in the middle, and then that's John's Quest. John's Quest came in for some work because he had a little bit of a bash on the nose. So we did some body work for him and made it look pretty again. And
very nice.
So this is the World Championships, going off to the World Championships last year, and I think it was you, Gary. They got me in touch with Larry Osman and Osland, and then basically I had to pick up Larry from Paris. Initially, he was going to come to England, but because of some sort of time delay, he had to meet him in Paris. So I had Sean Ballantyne with me, and I had my camper van. So we strapped the Evo K on the back of the camper van, and Sean had his bike in the back, and then we picked up Larry from Paris airport. That was a fantastic championships. The French championships, I think, was really well run, and it was really good fun. Really good fun this year.
Neil, here's a question from our pal Marco Ruga, the amazing Italian gentleman we had on a few weeks ago, asking about your actual FTP power.
Yeah, FTP power at the moment is about 285. True FTP. When I do an FTP test on Grotti, I do a true hour test. I don't just do 15 minutes at maximum power and then we guesstimate the FTP. So we do true FTP run. So basically I do an hour test and then get a true reading of my FTP. So minimum 275 at the moment, but we're building up all the time. I have done 319, it's in the real world. You've got to realise that when you're inside the streamliner, you're confined in such a tight space that it's a completely different. You've got to take heat into the equation and other factors as well. But yeah, 275 is my minimum FTP at the moment.
All right, let's get back to those slides. Let's follow the bike story. Okay. What's this?
Yeah, so this is a really interesting bike actually. This was designed by Miles Kingsbury. He's a well-known cycle designer in England. King Cycle is one of his bikes, and I think he made a bike called Mango that went to Battle Mountain. But this is a bike called Bubble and Squeak, and it originally had like a teardrop bubble over the top of it, but that got sort of changed by other riders over the time. So I initially had it. It went to Ian Perry, and then it came back to me. So basically, I'm going to put this one inside the Vector. So I think they make a really good combination.
So that red shell that we saw previously, you're going to put that around this thing and make a racer out of that.
Because the Vector never ever went round corners really well. But this bike is the most amazing trike because it's only 10 millimeter off the floor. Your hips are actually lower than the axles of the 406 wheels. So you can imagine how low to the floor it is. But it is for racing only. You couldn't take it on the road because you wouldn't even get over a speed bump. You literally just beach on the bump. But for racing, it will be fantastic. I think it just gives me a chance to keep up with Slash, the world champion. He's on a streamliner 2-wheel, but the trikes sort of fall down because they can't go around the corner so fast. But with the Vector and Bubble and Squeak, I think that it gives him a really good run for his money.
Interesting. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the WOW here. So this was at the 2018 World Championships. I recognize the track there.
Yeah, so basically I turned up the World Championships with the Evo K and hadn't really tested it. I'd done what I could do on it, but we basically rode it around the track and it was just unrideable. So a guy called Ian Baxter had this WOW up for sale. So literally I just sort of bit the bullet and bought it just to. Well, I bought it. It was a lovely machine anyway, but I actually did the World Championships.
Right, you had to have something to race.
Well, the thing is, I've been training, and I've been training. The Evo K was no good whatsoever, so I just thought I've got to do something. So I literally just jumped in that bike and just raced instantly, and it was fantastic bike. Really, really good. It was just lovely to jump in a bike that actually worked. There was no issues. It was quite quick, not the quickest velomobile, but still really stable. and I did quite well. I did quite well on it. I was actually doing okay in that bike. It was a really nice bike.
Next shot, I think we have a shot of the front off of that.
Yeah, so with the valve was set up for touring, so it had a front dynamo. It had a dynamo hub and a recharging system. So basically, you never had to plug it in to charge up the batteries for the lights or your USB port for your phone or your GPS. It was self-sufficient on power. So as long as you had the switch on for the dynamo, you could make as much power as you want. And the drag on it wasn't actually very much at all. It was hardly noticeable at all, only about 4 watts. So you didn't really notice it over the length of time, and it was just great for keeping everything charged and running. So for touring, it was perfect.
All right, let's go on. All right, so now this is a big part of your story. So what is this?
So basically, there's a guy called Francesco Russo who built this bike, and he set the Swiss record. He went 80. How far did he go? He went 84.34 kilometers in 1 hour and set the Swiss record. Once he'd done that, he sold the bike to a lovely guy called Oliver Leithoven, who was from Finland, and he set the Finnish record on it. And once Oliver finished with it, he put it up for sale. So I saw it advertised, and I just jumped at the opportunity, because to build a speed bike like this would cost you a lot of money and development time and all this sort of stuff. So I just jumped at the opportunity and bought the bike.
What's this called, Neil?
Ristretto.
Bike's
called Ristretto. Yeah, Ristretto, and it's to give you some idea. It goes 50 miles an hour on 234 watts of power. And there's a few scratches there, because obviously when we're riding, one of the big things with Streamline is obviously you get taped in and you have to get launched, and sometimes you have a fall. So until I go for the record again, we're just keeping it as it is, and then it get all sprayed up before the record again. But what I was going to say was the English record is held by a guy called Rob English, and he went 80.628 kilometers in 1 hour in Havana in America. I think it was a Ford proving testing ground. And so basically, I need to go more than 80 kilometers in 1 hour to get the British record. And,
so this is the vehicle you plan on using to do this record?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a fantastic bike. I mean, Ristretto, in the hands of Francesco, who's a fantastic rider. He's the current world record holder. He went 92 kilometers in 1 hour, which is just baffling, to be honest. To go 92 kilometers in 1 hour is astonishing. But he built the bike, but he actually made it slightly too big for him. And because of that, I'm the perfect candidate, because it fits me perfect to the millimeter. I'm not lying to you. When I'm in Ristretto, there's not a millimeter spare anywhere. So
did you know that when you bought it? Had you seen it?
But yeah, because what happened was because Oliver was at the King's College, Imperial King's College, doing his master's degree. And he's a lovely guy. So I met him at the college. And what we did was we measured me against Ristretto, and we rigged up 2 pieces of wood. And then we saw if I could fit or not. And I did, in between the gap. So, but obviously it was still a big unknown. So I sort of took a gamble and got the bike. And when it got delivered, I instantly got inside the bike and put the lid on. And it was absolutely millimeter perfect. I mean, to the point where, the body is 4 millimeter thick, and my knees go into the bodywork 2 millimeter.
Not only that, but it fits in this hallway where you can store it.
Well,
to the millimeter, it looks like.
This is home, so I do get some unusual comments when people come to visit. But they live in the garage now, but sometimes they have to live in the hallway when we're going to go to a race or getting ready to leave early next morning to go off to a competition.
Yeah, they want to know where the little green men are that came. Probably. That's beautiful. All right, and then so tell us, this is the gentleman that you bought it from.
Yeah, Oliver. He's a fantastic designer. He really is a clever chap, a lovely guy. Not only does he race the bikes, he actually designs them. This was a bike called Avis, Had a few mechanical issues as far as mechanical, but drag the aerodynamics on it are fantastic. It should be more slippery than the Milan, but it just got a few issues with the rear steering on it because it steers by the back wheel, which is quite unusual, you know. So that needs sorting out. But mechanical issues aside, the actual design of the bike is fantastic. So what I'm hoping to do.
Yeah, can we hang on a second? This may come in with the Trey. Can we back up to that shot with the chain rings and the chain management on the Ristretto? One more, maybe. Is that it was? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, sure.
So here's the question: is that a flywheel in there? What's up with that?
No.
That is the wheel, isn't it?
So basically, what's happening there is you got because the Ristretto has such a small nose, you can't have a huge chain ring on it. Some of these bikes run 300 teeth. Can you imagine that? A huge front cog. So Ristretto can't do that. So what we do is we have step-up gearing. So that I think that's around about a 65 tooth chain ring. That's then spinning a 14 chain ring to a 32. So basically, it sort of ups the gearing by about 3 times. So it gives me basically makes the front chain ring about 3 times the size of what it is. So it just means that I can get the top speeds that I need to without having to have a huge chain ring at the front.
All right. Great answer. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on back through the slideshow and past this. Okay. And this was a ride you and John took, right?
Yeah, but John sort of arranged this. This was, maybe John can speak about this.
Yeah, John, let's bring you back in if we can and tell us about this.
Oh, so this is in Victoria Park in East London. I think I'd heard on social media that Matthias and Alve were riding from Gothenburg in Sweden to London, and I thought, right, awesome, you know, got a welcoming party together. So I rustled up a few of the British Velomobile riders, and we all got together and gave them a rousing reception when they arrived in London, and escorted them to their hostel for the night in King's Cross. And then the next day we picked them up nice and early and took them on a lovely tour of all the sites in London by Velomobile with a big group. Yeah.
Just, I mean, all of our viewers know this from watching the show. It's a testament to the very tight-knit, warm community that is the Velonaut community, don't you think?
Yeah, phenomenal.
Definitely.
I mean,
that was people. A real. I was going to say that was a real eye opener for people seeing 7 Velomobiles go down the road, all different colours. Yeah. For most people, just to see one Velomobile was a bit of a shock to them, but all of a sudden there's 7 Velomobiles all in a line.
Right.
Yeah. It was a real eye opener. Really
there's one There's one missing actually. I think it's Andrew Allen. Yeah. I think we were still waiting for him to turn up, and he was in a Quattro, so then there was two.
And I think this is pre-Questy's nose job.
Yeah, it's got
looks a little rough.
Yeah, he's got a bit of gaffer tape doing the do on the gaffer tape hanged around a lot longer than it was meant to, you know.
Right. All right, let's go on. John.
Yeah, so this is an Alpha 7 that was kindly given by Jan from Velomobile World, and he said, "Yeah, grab hold of that, have it for say 4 months, and let us know what you think about it, and maybe to let people know if you like it or hate it." And it was a great machine. Absolutely loved it, especially its climbing abilities. That was quite a shock. And that's when I gave it to Neil at Gravesend, I think it was, cycle circuit. Yeah. And you whizzed around in a race there and had a lot of fun.
I think to just jump in it and race it straight away before setting it up for me was a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, but, I mean, you only cut the grass once, I think, on one of the corners.
A little bit of a moment on one of the corners.
I remember asking Alan Goodman. I said to him, "Oh, Alan, here you go, jump in, take it for a spin around the track." He said, "No, looks expensive. No."
He was worried about it. So. Alan's a little guy too. I don't know if he could reach the pedals. Let's. Oh, by the way, so Jan, is it Vigen? I think How do you...
I think it's Vinans.
Okay.
I've probably got it wrong.
Jan is the what?
He's coming on your show.
Yes, he's gonna. That's what I'm getting around. He is, I guess, the director or owner of Velomobile World. Started out being Velomobile RO. We're going to talk all about it. He's an amazing guy too. So we're really looking forward to talking to Jan, and we'll get into his story about how they're building Velomobiles in Romania now. Almost, I think, more Velomobiles there than anywhere else in the world. So
absolutely,
we'll get to that. But that's who Jan is there. All right, let's get back and go to those slides. Now, this is the garage.
This is the workshop in progress.
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Well, this is a Quest that I bought. Basically, one of the club members put the Quest up for sale, and it was such a good price, I just couldn't resist it. So I had to buy it. So I bought the Quest. And I really like the Quest. I think the Quest is a fantastic all-rounder. I think for comfort and for the speed it goes and what luggage space you have, I think they're still a great bike. You know, they're really nice to ride. You know.
Am I the only one who's keeping count of how many times Neil has said it was such an amazing deal?
That's why Magda's laughing.
I couldn't resist it. I think you said it a couple times, John, but I think Neil, you're way ahead.
Well, the thing is, I got the perfect bike now in the Milan SL. The Milan SL is just on a different league to anything else, you know. The Alpha 7, we're obviously looking for. We got a brand new Alpha 7 coming in a couple of weeks' time, which will be ready for demo, which we're really excited about because the Alpha 7 is the most phenomenal climbing machine, and it is still quick. But we all know that Milan SL for top speed is probably still the fastest production. But
let's say hello to our pal Julie Lovegrove and Mark, who's probably watching as well. Hey! They're in England and talking about having ridden her Ron's Stratus.
Oh yes, at Gravesend. Yeah, hi guys. They tour around the world on their bikes. They're a really nice couple.
They are. All right. How about back to the slides here? Let's. What do we have here?
So this is Milan SL Mark 5. Fantastic bike, absolutely awesome. Yeah, they're just so quick. So we're in the garage again. So that's John's Milan, John's QV, and that's Ristretto. I mean, it's hard to tell from the picture because Ristretto's in a stand, raised it up about 6 inches, but it gives you some idea of head-on how small Ristretto is.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller than the other two, isn't it?
It's 0.26 of a square meter head-on. So yeah, you get 6'1" person in a 0.26 of a square meter.
Incredibly aero, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Back to there's what I was looking for.
This is great fun.
That's Theo doing what he does best, sleeping in the back and asking me to put some music on before he nods off.
Me and John decided to make, was it Don Shackley?
No, it was Tim MacDonald.
Oh, Tim MacDonald, sorry.
Yes. This was a huge storm or something you were riding in, right?
Yeah, it was. Well, we didn't actually know that the storm was brewing.
It was coming. No, not at all.
No, we got over to Box Hill. It was a lovely day. Did a lot of riding around there, a lot of climbing. I remember that because the hills are pretty steep, especially with him in the back. And then all of a sudden, just before we headed home, the winds picked up, started pouring with rain, and then we had like branches and things falling into the road off the trees.
It was bad.
It was really bad. And then I haven't told you about this, have I, Maggie? Shh. And then
maybe you shouldn't.
He was perfectly safe.
Yeah, we can. We'll just skip over this. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a picture of a typical viewer watching the laid back. All right, let's go on to the next slide.
Next slide.
Right. All right. So, yeah, this is my Milan. Basically, had it delivered about a month ago, or maybe a bit more than a month ago now. And
it's more than a month, I think.
Yeah, I just absolutely love the bike. It's just so fast. I mean, it's
you are so fast in it. So fast.
Well, I mean, it's you can go 40 miles an hour. I just find 40 miles an hour is really easy in it. Really easy. Where in the WoW or the Quest, to go 40 miles an hour, you'd really have to work quite hard. But in the Milan, even today, we went out, we was riding around. I was going 36 miles an hour, not even trying. It's just so quick.
It's incredible.
Fast bike.
What sort of watts do you put out to do like 30?
Well,
30,
I was looking at the data the other day, and I think when I did the 62.9 miles an hour, I think it was just under 1600 watts. But that is in the sprint. But I have to look at the data to see what it does at 40 miles an hour. But it would be interesting. I haven't actually looked at that.
Hugely efficient vehicle, no doubt about it. So,
yeah.
Okay, here's a question. I was going to probably get to this towards the end, but let's bring Maggie back into this too. So, folks, first of all, Maggie, can you tell us a little bit? That's
a very good question.
Let's talk about, first of all, your riding background, because you have a very impressive riding background. Tell us quickly, if you could, what your past riding experience has been, and then we can talk about the Velomobiles.
Well, thank you.
Maybe you should talk about the tour.
The tour?
Well,
that's when I started, right?
Yeah, you used to cycle to work and then...
Right, so when we started to going out together, we started to ride bikes together, provided by John, bikes provided by John. So because John is into recumbents, they were recumbents. So we did
what were they?
Ride in a track to our first big ride was
to Morocco. It was supposed to be to Morocco,
on the Fujin.
Yeah. So basically, Magda had only. She had a, what did you have? Was it a Brompton or at the time? It might have been a Brompton. And she used to ride that, I don't know, 10 miles to work, 10 miles home every day. And then, we would just started going out with each other 5 to 6 years ago. And I said, me and my mates are riding to North Africa on recumbent bikes. Have you ever ridden one? No. Would you like to come? Yeah, sounds like fun. Why not? So I was like, okay, ordered 2 Challenge Fujin SL2s. With back racks and panniers off Stuart. They came just before we were leaving, 3 days before we were leaving for the trip. And so Magda sort of wobbled around the park for a couple of days, falling off, and was like, I can't ride it. And then off we went to France.
And that was your... Go ahead.
No, that is, thank you. So first 2 days, I think I cried. And then... the third day I was angry, and then fourth day was okay. So
we were doing.
I recommend anyone to try because you sort of you get over the sort of the learning period, and then you just enjoy it. And it's actually, I love Fujin. I still love Fujin a lot.
I mean, I thought you were phenomenal doing 160 kilometers every day off the bat for God knows how many days.
3 weeks. I think.
Yeah, the only thing you didn't like was the fact that we never really stopped to see anything, because it was a set sort of. Stuart and Patrick Field had a set amount of miles to do every day to get there.
So Maggie, actually, though, before that, you had raced bicycles at some point. Yes?
Oh yeah, after that.
After
that, I was the champion. UK
the
champion.
British Human Power Club. Yeah.
I had a trophy for a year. I mean, it was great. I think it was Fujin. So what I really enjoyed is more the meetup. Everyone meets up a couple of weeks during the summer. The whole community.
The
kind of
social
fun.
Aspects again of the recumbent community. Yeah,
that's correct. Also, I started to be competitive at some point.
Very competitive.
I don't know.
You always
I have 2 sisters. We had to.
So you're always competing even back then. All right, so let's bring it up to date. And the question has been asked, and John is curious, obviously. What are your feelings about the Velomobiles and your experience? Yes. And do you like to ride
them? Do you like riding them?
Yeah.
I do like riding them, but last year I didn't really do much of riding because our setup is very interesting. John is doing the filming and I'm doing the editing, and I'm with Theo at the same time. So I think it's a little bit of an excuse. I think I need to go back to riding.
Yeah, I do ask you every weekend, do you want to come up? Maggie makes up an excuse, Yeah.
So
we'll go back to it. Yeah, of course.
We definitely need to see more of you in the videos. So I think that's what everyone's.
And she is really in a velomobile. She flies along. She's especially at a race. She prefers riding on the racetrack than on the roads, I think.
No doubt.
They
All right.
are very comfy. Yeah.
So let's circle back to Velo-ads. This is let's talk about the dealership. So we've spent a little time over the last few weeks actually talking with Doug and talking about Velomobile dealerships. So they're very, very few and far between, but there are getting to be more of them. And we're going to get into this in great detail with Jan in a couple of weeks because his thoughts of marketing and sales have a lot to do with having dealers. And the whole sales of Velomobiles is an evolving concept right now, as you well know. So, John, if you can tell us, let's talk about Velo-ads, the dealership, first of all, what your concept is, what you are doing right now, what your near-term plans are, and what your long-term plans are. Maybe let's kind of go in that progression. And Neil, you jump in wherever you feel you need to.
Okay, so we're slowly getting everything together. We're working on the workshop. We want to do servicing straight off the bat once we're all set up. So we're selling Velomobiles at the moment, and once the workshop's finished, we'll be offering servicing as well. And there's quite a big interest over here at the moment in Velomobiles, which is really, really good. And it's selling all the range of models. So it's not just the fast mod, the super fast models. We're selling Quattrovelos, touring models. And but in the end, it's my hobby, Velomobiles. I love them, so it's really nice to actually combine your work with your hobby, because then it never gets boring then. And I just love it, and I think they're just going to go from strength to strength.
It doesn't feel like work.
No, not at all. No.
It's awesome. It's so great.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk specifics as far as the shop goes. So are you going to have a storefront? And you don't have to be specific in terms of what you're doing, but is that in the plans? Will there be a Velo-ad shop physically someplace, brick and mortar?
Yeah, there will be. Yeah, for sure. The guys have to bring their bikes somewhere to get them serviced, and then we're going to have all the demonstrators there as well.
Yeah, well, we have the garage for that now, but obviously we are thinking about an actual shop unit, aren't we?
Yeah,
so,
we've got one we're looking at the moment, actually.
Yeah.
And it's not too far from where we are, so that could be the next step.
And Neil, will you be handling service to start out with, kind of thing?
Absolutely, absolutely. And John as well. We're going to obviously I know quite a lot about the bikes already, but I've learned quite quickly by the ones that I've ridden. But me and John are going to go over to Taunton to actually get meet the guys over there and actually get trained up on the process, especially on the QV, because the QV is quite a lot more involved than the other bikes.
Good. Okay. Let's jump to the website slides here, because right now this is the major part of your presence. And John, you want to talk about the website and how people can contact you through it, what they can learn from it? Can they buy a Velo on it? How does that work?
Right, so Magda designed the website. You can actually go on there. You can spec a bike, any model you want. You can click on spec and buy, and you can look at all the options, click on them, see what suits, and I think you have a price at the end, and you can work out roughly how much. I mean, there's a lot of people going on that website every day, because my phone dings every time. Oh, ding, so-and-so's a new site visitor from Switzerland. Ding, new site visitor from Mogadishu. Ding. And so everybody's specking Velomobiles at the moment. And then, it's quite interesting. We're updating things all the time. I noticed today that the price on the QV as it comes standard was slightly wrong, so that has to be changed. It's a little bit more expensive on there than it actually is. I think it's $8,950, and there it's $9,200. So Maggie's going to change that, and we're updating all the photos on there, because we just wanted to get the website live, so we just stuck photos on there, random ones which we had already, and then we've gone out and we've taken actually proper photos. So we're slowly changing some of the pictures and stuff. yeah, it's really cool. And considering we designed the website ourselves, I mean, we've never done anything like that. And Magda spent a few days doing that. And
it's been a great job.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've had some initial success. Yeah, go ahead, Maggie.
oh, we've had
Thank
some
you.
orders on the website already.
that's why-
Yeah, I think 3 orders or 4 orders
And
already.
I know Neil was involved in delivering, right? Did you
Oh, well, but that was the second-hand mango, wasn't it, John?
Oh yes, to
Yes.
Cornwall.
To Cornwall.
Yeah.
Okay.
To
And
Alan Stock. Yeah.
Maggie, go ahead. You had something to say?
Yes, thank you. So what I would recommend is to, obviously you can spec a bike and choose your own bike on a website. But I think what we've learned is that customers actually like to interact with John, and some of what they choose, what they think they need, it might not be actually the best choice. So what we've learned is when you were speaking with them sort of on the phone, it sort of cleared some of the issues or cleared some doubts or questions.
Yeah.
So we really recommend get them to
Yeah,
sort of contact John as well.
if you send us an email
Yeah.
and you're keen to order something, it's good to have actually. I'll call you and we'll go over things and just make sure that what you want is actually what you need.
Yeah.
The thing is, you've been riding them for so long, John. You've got the experience, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that really pays dividend, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, there's Alva, who was on the show a few weeks ago, offering up any extra QV photos you may need for the
Brilliant.
website.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
got it.
Aw.
So thanks.
Yeah. We'll have a
Thank you,
chat with you.
Alva.
All right. You know, if we can, I'll finish up with just a couple of questions. I want to.
Knobbly knee competition.
Yeah, that's good. Trey, actually leave that up there because this is actually where I want to go.
This is me about 2 years later through training. So
Right,
if you
so-
saw the first photo to this photo, my legs are just so different now.
that there, yeah, you could see, and
Yeah.
you've got 2 of them legs. There.
Yeah. Hopefully, there's another one somewhere.
We'll get that shot for you later, ladies and gentlemen.
It does help.
So all this emphasis that you have and your great desire to race,
Yeah.
and I know John is supporting you. He does some racing himself. I'm
Yeah,
wondering
of
how
course.
you see racing as what position does it play? What part does it play in Velo-ads in your business? Do you think that it helps to raise awareness? Do you think it helps to pick up?
I mean, I think with the velos, I think speed comes with it anyway because they're just more slippery and more aerodynamic.
I think
than
it definitely
bikes.
raises awareness. I mean, if you've never seen a Milan SL in your life, and then you see one on a track, and you can actually try it. If you're roughly my height, you can jump in and do a few laps of the track and see what it's actually like. It's it's the way forward, really.
I mean, the first question we get asked by the normal cyclists is, the first question they always ask is, after saying it's awesome, the first thing they say to us is, how fast does it go? That's always the first thing they always say.
I usually say, it's the same, the equivalent of asking somebody on a road bike, how fast does that go? And it's dependent on the rider as well, whether you're fit or not.
Is there a motor in that thing? Seems to be another.
Yeah, only the police ever asked me that.
The other one.
Yeah, I've been
All
stopped
right.
a few times.
If we can, then let's kind of bring it up to date and finish up with a question about riding in London, which you both have done for a long time.
Yeah.
So pre-coronavirus and then now, I remember seeing plenty of your videos, John, where you complained about the traffic and how horrible it was and how difficult it was often to ride. So if you can, both of you, tell me about what the experience was like then in the midst of coronavirus times, and then maybe is it even changing now? How's the experience changed?
Well, then the pollution was really bad. That was the main thing. The air quality was terrible. And I think it was 1 out of every 3 kids under 5 years old had asthma due to the pollution, the exhaust emissions. And since the coronavirus, the air quality changed drastically.
Amazing.
It basically felt like it smelled like you were in the countryside. The birds were singing, which I haven't heard since I've been living here. Absolutely. And then the Prime Minister said, get in your cars and get to work, don't use public transport. So, but now we're back to normal.
Back to normal.
We did try
Cheers,
to see
Boris.
we did try to see Boris today. We wouldn't answer.
No.
We
I mean, hopefully, we've sold a lot more Velomobiles than we ever have now during the pandemic, actually, which is quite an eye opener.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that.
There's a lot of people cycling now.
And so let's end it up then with your vision for the absolute future 5 or 10 years from now. Would you anticipate then there's going to be a lot more Velomobiles out riding around?
Most definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think cycling is going to go through the roof now because most people don't want to use public transport anymore. And, you know, they're used to traveling on trains, tube trains in London, buses, and they want to continue to be able to carry their laptop in safety. They want to stay dry. They want to stay warm in the winter. And the Velomobile is the machine to use for that. Yeah. And I think there's going to be a lot more sales now. And plus, in the Milan, you've got the visor. When we whiz around Regent's Park doing laps, which most of the cyclists in London use for training, you pull up at the odd set of lights there, and all the riders on road bikes are like, wow, that's actually the perfect social distancing vehicle. You know, you've got the visor down, you're inside, and you're not inhaling anything. It's absolutely perfect. And they're all like, we should get one of those. So
let's hope that they do. Let's hope that they do, and the sales go up and you guys do well. We wish you all the luck in the world. And Neil and John and Maggie, thank you so much for working with me beforehand and coming out the show and taking some time out to share.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary. As always,
great
pleasure.
Fun. It's great fun.
Thanks a lot, guys. We will see you. And guys, Velo-ads is the name of the YouTube channel, the name of the business. Check it all out. We'll have the links below, of course. So long, guys. Thanks.
Brilliant. Cheers, Gary. Thanks for having us again.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right, folks. So that was Velo-ads, and we appreciate them coming on. All right, we're going to pivot now to our Ask Me Anything session with a friend of ours down in Austin, Texas. It is Ron Blackman at Easy Streets Recumbent. Is that what it says right over there?
That's what it says right over here on this side.
Yeah, I know. Everything's backwards.
Yeah. Everything's backwards on the camera.
The wrong way. It's great to have you on, Ron. How you doing?
Oh, doing well. We've been fairly busy and staying pretty busy. Sales are up from what they used to be, and we're doing pretty good. I guess I should go back and let's history, right?
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to, if we can, there may be one or two folks who don't know too much about Street Recumbents, and I wanted to let you share a little bit about what that's all about first, and then we will talk about that.
Sure.
So maybe that first slide, and there we go. That's
me on my expedition at Christmas Parade in Temple, Texas, with the VA Adaptive Sports folks, and they did that. Easy Street's been around for over 20 years. Mike started in 1996, I believe, and he's been doing this for a very long time. I've only been here a couple of years. I'm a new guy to the shop. When he opened was looking at opening the shop up in Keller, and moving Mike up there. And that's me riding again. Micah was going to move up there. When Micah moved up there, he needed somebody to come in and help out with the mechanic stuff, and that's where I started. And then kind of doing a little bit of all of it now, doing the ordering and the showroom stuff.
Yeah, we've got another shot, I think.
Keep going. Yeah, that's me working on a trike. I think I was working on a TerraTrike Cruiser there. That's right.
So there are two shops.
There are two shops.
Go ahead, tell us.
Yeah, one here in Austin, and then the second shop is about 2 years old, and it's up in Keller, Texas, which is a suburb of Fort Worth, and up in that area. So, and both shops have been really busy. And this is I'll plug TerraTrike since we were Dealer of the Year. I'll plug their stuff for a minute. This is the new 24-inch Rambler that they came out with all 24-inch tires, and it's sitting in front of our Austin shop, and you can see my reflection taking the picture there. But it's a really nice trike. It's single chainring, 9 speeds, rides really well, has a lot of good stability to it. They widen the wheelbase out, so you don't really hit your foot when you're riding like the All-Terrain used to do. So, and that's the plug for them. And then this is Mike in the red.
Yeah.
We're helping a customer who just bought an All-Terrain, and this is kind of just showing the things we're doing. Austin, in Travis County require masks outside when you're in public. And so as part of this corona stuff that's going on, part of our precautions has been we don't generally let anybody in the showroom without a mask. We've had the sign on the door that when you get there, call us and we'll come out to you. We've done all of the setup, most of the setup in test riding and taking products out to customers outside the shop so they don't come in the shop. And so, you know, we've added some procedures to what we normally do to make it a little safer for everybody and to kind of comply with what the city and state and county are all telling us we have to do.
Okay, yeah, that'll kind of bring us up to date there. So,
yeah.
All right, one more bit of history or the events that you do. There's something called the Hot Rally. What is that?
Right. Well, we did that. We were going to do that in February this year, and it was going to be more of a community fair kind of thing. This year was what kind of Mike had envisioned, and then with the outbreak going on and everybody kind of not sure how things should work and why things should, you know, what the restrictions were going to be. And they were saying, you know, no large gathering of crowds and all those restrictions. We decided to postpone it to October. And as of right now, we're still looking at, I think the first week in October of putting it on in Keller again. And it will, you know, of course, all that's subject to change based on what the state and everybody tells us we have to do with gatherings and everything. So,
but it's on for a number of years.
Yeah, it's been on for a long time. Mike's been doing it, and he's done it in Austin when it was just the Austin shop, and it's more of a community fair kind of thing. Last year we did the Texas Trike Shootout between the VTX and the Carbon Trike, and they came out really close to each other. I understand. I was working in Austin, didn't get to go up there, but
yeah, I actually rode in.
Yeah, you were actually up there.
Yeah, and raced in the event and had some trouble making those tight turns like I should have. But
right.
It was great fun. People dress up in strange costumes, including Mike.
Mike.
Right. There are races. There are other sorts of events. The food is wonderful. And it's just great fun. So I wish you luck. I hope you can get that rally going in October, and encourage our viewers, if you want to make the trip, check it out and find out what they do at Easy Street as well. So, all right, let's talk about trikes and some of your views, Ron. You are very knowledgeable. You've been doing this for a while. What do you see as the latest trends in trikes? What's it looking like to you?
Well, TerraTrike is coming out with some new models, and they're actually going more into the speed type models. The new Spider and the new GTS are designed more for going faster, and they're also a little lighter than TerraTrike has historically been with some of their trikes. And to me, that seems like the direction they're going is to get more models out there to move a little faster, do things a little better. A big thing that has come out in the last couple of years since I've been there has been the e-assist market. And most of the trikes, Cat Trike is coming out in June with their e-assist version with the Bosch motor. But TerraTrike and Ice and Azub that we sell up in Keller, they all have an e-assist version, and they all use slightly different ones. Ice and Azub use the Shimano step system, and Cat Trike and TerraTrike are going to be using the Bosch system. And we've had customers bring in some of the Bafangs and some of the others and asked us to install them, but we don't generally just stock those. It's just something customers ask us to come in and install for them, because it gets a little complicated sometimes on doing some of those installs. But that seems to be a trend, is that the e-assist market is kind of just growing and booming, and it's good for people that are disabled, because it gives them sometimes the ability to do more things than they would otherwise. And so that's always something that we talk to people about. If you're having problems, struggling, especially if you're in a hilly area and you're struggling, then the e-assist will help you out quite a bit with that. So
so you're seeing really wide acceptance. I mean, it's something that you're seeing. So what I always ask this, folks, can you give me an idea of percentage wise, when someone comes in to buy a new trike, what percentage of them are looking at e-assist these days?
I'd say about a third. About a third. We've had quite a few. Especially older folks that are retired and they're just out for exercise, but they don't want to struggle, and they'll get the e-assist because it helps them out more. And so that it's actually become quite a bigger part of our sales there. And so we always try to stock stuff there.
All right. And there's a voice saying 50% of EU bike sales are e-bike now. So,
Yep.
I mean, it's
I can believe that over there.
And Mike Smith, I really hope that the hot rally can take place this year. So, yeah, anybody that's
we're looking for that.
You have a lot of return
we do.
event attendees, don't you? Because
we do. In fact, last year's, I know when we were doing tickets for that, we had people from out of state that were coming to it. So that had been, and that was their highlight, was coming down for the hot rally. So. All
right. So, yeah, anything else that you wanted to share with us as far as will you be attending, say, if they have CycleCon in October? I know you were there. Are you going to be going back? Do you plan on attending future events like that, or how do you keep up?
I think Mike is going to start rotating. Mike and I go into those events. I went the last 2 years, so I think Mike is going to go this year, and then I will probably just go opposite years of him, and we'll just do every other year. We've been talking about me going to a bicycle mechanics school at some point and just learning from that and getting more knowledge that way. So there's some other things that we've been looking at doing there. I spent last year, the day before the RCC started, I spent a day with ICE building and learned quite a bit from them. So, those kind of things are fun to do and be able to sit and work with people and learn things about how they look at things and view things when they're the manufacturer versus how you look at it from the shop. And some of those are really interesting things to learn, and you learn more about the product that way too.
Absolutely. I learn a lot when I go, even though I'm working. It's great.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see. Anything? Oh, Larry, our own Larry here. He was at the last hot rally. Whoops. Let me see if I can get that back up there. And I know he did have a great time. So again, hot rally is a lot of fun. Okay. I guess
I'm gonna say Doug has showed up too at hot rally too. He's been there.
Right. So. Yeah. Doug has been there. I know for a number of years as well. So, Larry, did you want to, or Doug, let's bring you guys up real quick. And can I? Well, maybe not.
Possibly.
Larry, bring yourself up. Let's try that. Something is going on there. All right. Well, there we go.
There he is.
Larry, tell us about your experience with the Easy Street and the hot rally.
Oh, it was just great trying all the different trikes, and not just that, but it felt like the Recumbent Con I've never been to, just because we had like the guy from ICE there, the guy from who else was there? Cat Trike was there. The
Bachetta guys were there.
The Bachetta guys were there. That was
we always try to get some of the industry folks
about how cold it was, but it wasn't that cold for me coming from Colorado.
Right. And the parades of people with unusual costumes and Santa and cows and all kinds of crazy things. Doug, you've had fun at them before, haven't you?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not sure I want to go to the Killer one. It's not enough of a bike ride for me. The Austin one was much more fun to ride down to. But no, it's great. I mean, it's great to see everybody. It's great. We had Sylvia the year I was down there as a guest speaker.
Yeah,
Sylvia Halpern, yes.
Yeah, so it was good.
All right. Well, good. Yep. So I guess we can't tout the hot rally any more than that. But, it was a favorite. It is a favorite. So
it's
going again. So all right, let's go ahead and send Doug back, and let me say a proper goodbye to Ron. Guys, if you are anywhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth area or down in Austin, please do check out the shop at Easy Street and go and see Ron or Mike. and the hot rally, of course, as we've discussed. So, Ron, appreciate you taking the time to come on and share your thoughts with us. We hope to see you again. Maybe I'll see you at CycleCon, or
maybe so.
Maybe I'll see Mike. We'll see how that works.
Maybe
out.
at the hot rally. You never know. I might sneak up there one day.
We might just.
Thanks for having me.
Be there. So you bet, Ron. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. All right, folks, let's get on to our thank yous to our wonderful sponsors before we get to some announcements. First of all, I would like to thank TerraCycle. From fairings to headrests, wherever you find the accessories you might need, Pat and crew have you covered. And Trailside.bike. If you find yourself in Florida, near the Withlacoochee Trail, stop in to see Andrew and his crew. And Cruise Bike, their patented race and record-proven front-wheel drive geometry changes the rules of cycling. Now, comfort doesn't come at the cost of performance. But fair warning, your cheeks may hurt from smiling. And TerraTrike, the host of the virtual Rider Fest. For details, go to TerraTrike.com/RiderFest or the TerraTrike Facebook page. Ride what you like and join us for the virtual Rider Fest. And the Hostel Shop. Established in 1974, the Hostel Shop leads the way in providing recumbent bikes and trikes to cyclists across the nation. With over 4 decades of industry knowledge and cycling experience, we're more than just another bike shop. All right, guys. I have one announcement to make. I happen to be invited to a conference call with HP Velotechnik and their American dealers. And what it was about was their new e-assist motor. Many of you know the story of Go Swiss, which was the company that they used for their motors for many years. But now they've gone with what's called Neo Drive for their e-assist. So there's a look at the Neo Drive. They have 2 models that are going to be on their trikes, and I think on some of their bikes as well, the Z20S and the Z20RS. So the S is a 20 mile per hour class 1 pedal assist 36 volt, and the RS is a 28 mile an hour class 3 pedal assist 48 volt system. These both have forward push assist, which is kind of cool. They also will reverse, and yes, you can retrofit these on most of the HP trikes. So that's kind of interesting to know. So there's some details that I grabbed from the Neo Drive website, some of the specs that you can see there. I'm not going to get into too many details here, but if you are interested in this, you can contact HP or any of the HP dealers, and they will go into detail. So the American market is now has the Neo Drives. The European market, I guess, has had them for almost a year now. So really interesting development from HP. I appreciate them letting me come on that call and learning a little bit more about that. All right, let's move along and talk about what's coming up next week. We are going to continue the weekly Laidback Bike Reports for probably another month. And then I think by July, we're going to probably cycle back to once a month or something like that. We'll see how it goes, but I am booked up for the next month. So next week is, I think, June 7th or 6th. I'll check the date. 2 p.m. though it is. We're going to have the guys from HPRA, the Human Powered Race America group, Gary Hill, Mike Mowat, and Warren Beauchamp. So Mike and Warren have been on the show before, and Gary Hill kind of runs the HPRA. This is an association of guys and gals who race and in almost any sort of human-powered vehicle. They want to make this available and more accessible to folks, and they're trying to build up the number of people who race. So really interesting guys. We're going to take a look at some crazy builds and some of the things that have raced over the years, where you can race, and all kinds of other stuff about HPV racing. So join us next week, Sunday at 2 p.m. All right, Ben Expo, we continue to work with Cruise Bike, TerraCycle, Haza, and Catrike. We're going to have those Ben Expo videos coming up. And if you would like to support what we do here at the Laidback Bike Report, please like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, click the little eye over here, and head to our website to find out more. And you can also become a Patreon patron. So you can see here all the orange peas that we have. And these are some of our patrons. So there's some benefits for joining, but you can just support us for as little as $1 a month. We really appreciate all the support on Patreon. So thank you to the Patreon patrons, and thank all of you just for watching every week. That is good enough for us as well. All right, guys, I want to thank my panelists. Can we pop everybody back on here? Thank you, Larry and Trey and Doug. There we go, guys. Thanks for making the show work so well and all that you guys do every week. Larry, that was the flag. That's your hot rally. Wait just a minute, folks. Larry, pull that up. Larry worked really hard to show that. Yeah, there it is, the hot rally flag that he got. You should have been waiting for that when we were talking about it. So, guys, thanks a lot for helping out again this week. We hope to see you again next week. So we appreciate that. Bent Ryder, Brian Ball, Larry Varney, we appreciate all the support that we get from them as well. So I think that's going to do it this week, folks. So from all of us here at the Laidback Bike Report, thank you so much for watching. So long, Bent Riders.